Obi-doo, it's everyone's favorite boomer and vintage lens enthusiast, and today we're going to continue the discussion with the Canon EF 70 to 300, or 75 to 300, f4 to f5.6. I don't have this lens anymore, so I can't show it to you, but it was on the Rebel XTi because back in 2010, I just recently acquired this, and it was somewhat poor, and so I held on to it for a long time. Little did I know that when you buy a digital camera, you can only hold on to it to a year to 18 months, and then you got to trade it and get the next one. So I'm stuck with this camera. I still use it on occasion. But I want to discuss the some strange things about the 75 to 300 Canon EF. There's like 4 different versions. The original version was made in Japan. And then they had a version that was made in Malaysia. They have a version with IS. They have a version with ultrasonic motor. They have a version with just a regular DC motor for autofocus. And I don't know how many, they have a UD version, which has a different optical formula. So all of them have the same optical formula up until they went to a UD element. And apparently, and I could be wrong because it's hard to find out, some had IS in ultrasonic, some had IS in the DC motor, some did not have IS and ultrasonic. So mine, I do not know what version it is. All I know, it says made in Malaysia on it, and it was ultrasonic. I just remembered, I thought it wasn't, but it was. So, but that was it. Had no IS. All I had was an on-off switch for the autofocus, and that was it. So this is a 10 megapixel camera. I paid like $700 for it back in the day. Now they're totally worthless. Well, maybe worth $50. But it took good pictures. It was really closely matched to the optical quality of the 75 to 300. The 75 to 300 needed f10, 11 or 16. I think it went down to 22, but I never really shot it at 22. Probably I should have. So you got to use it on a sunny day with ISO 400 and shutter speeds faster than 3/50th of a second. Probably 640 is better, 800 is better, 1000 is even better. That's to get rid of unintentional camera motion. And it still gives you the ability to stop down to those sweet spot apertures like 10, 11, and 16. And that's what all you need to know about the this combo. There is one other thing. When you're shooting with a long lens, 300 millimeters, if it's a zoom, and you're at that end, you got to pick your days to go shooting very carefully, just as much as an astronomer might when he wants to look at the sky. The sky, the water, the air is like water in a pool. If you drop a penny into a pool or a little rock and it makes ripples, and then it's hard to see what's on the bottom of the pool. Sometimes the ripples could be very large and slow, and it doesn't disrupt the image too much. And other times they could be short and jaggedy like that. And you're going to see in the slideshow, which is of New York City, me and my girlfriend at the time took an all-day boat ride around Manhattan, and it was a history lesson, and we went in a whole bunch of nooks and crannies, and I saw views of New York City that I haven't seen before and haven't seen since. But using 300 millimeter over the water, and it was hazy. There's no doubt about it. I had to adjust the contrast and the levels to see if I could punch through the haze. And what happens is, it was in July, and the air was hot and rising, and it was making heat waves, and you could see the ripples in all the far-off buildings. So maybe they thought, well, if we make this thing perfect, most of the time you're going to be, sit back by the environmental conditions, like the atmospheric turbulence. So you're not going to get the full benefit anyway. And I didn't. I seen a lot of it. And if you look closely at these pictures, especially ones that say 300 millimeter and the little blurb along the bottom, then you look closely for atmospheric turbulence, and that disrupted a lot of pictures. Now, you can still get a good picture, but you got to keep that in mind. If you're pixel peeping and you want to see the finest details there is, well, guess what? You're not going to see it. So, is the 75 to 300 Canon EF, is it a great lens? No, it's nowhere close to being great. Is it a bad lens? No, it is absolutely not a bad lens. It is a good lens. It's an okay lens. It's not outstanding. It's not almost there. It's just a standard working horse, a good lens that you got to stop down. And if you got to use a slower shutter speeds, you're going to need a tripod or a monopod. And conversely, if you're in dim light, you're going to have a camera that you could jack the ISO up on a lot, so you could maintain a faster shutter speed and some sort of stop-down aperture. Because definitely at f4 and at 5.6, the thing is soft. Without a doubt, no getting around it. But stop down at least to f8, but f9 is better. 10, 11, and 16 is even better. That's what you have to do. There's no getting around it. Now, I don't know if you would be disappointed if you slapped that lens on anything higher than 10 megapixel, because this looks like it was almost a perfect match. You know, it's just the way it looked to me. But it had a lack of distortion. It seemed to have a reasonable contrast of its own. I mean, if you go somewhere and it's hazy and misty, well, that's not the fault of the lens. That's just the fault of the environment. So I don't want to, there's nothing much else to say about the Canon XTi, except that's a 10 megapixel DSLR from 15 years ago. And if you're lucky, maybe you'll never see one. But if you could pick one up for $5 and you're got some Canon lenses, oh yeah, you know, just knock around. You don't care what happens to it. Just shoot to your heart's content. So let's jump right into the slideshow. A City of Water, New York City, 2010. The purpose of these videos is for you to see photographic samples of what you can expect from a certain lens and camera combination, and you can draw your own conclusions if you want to pick one up either new or used. In this situation, it's the Canon EF 75 to 300 millimeter f4 to f5.6, and I took it on a boat ride that I spent like $20 a ticket for me and my girlfriend to go see the City of Water Day in 2010. And it was an all-day affair. Oh, we were gone like 6 hours or something. And it kept on going, but we bailed earlier. But it was worth every penny. And at the time, I didn't have a lot of money to invest in my photography. So I bought this lens because it was a Canon lens. And it was in my price point, which was under $200, significantly under $200. And I shot a lot of pictures with it, and I'm glad I did. And here's the City of Water, New York City. There's Empire State Building. These are historical pictures from 15 years ago because it's 2025. And we saw a lot of different ships because there was traffic, other traffic on the river, and people were probably celebrating City of Water Day in their own way with different cruise boats or their own boat or whatever they were doing. And the Staten Line ferry always runs every day and it's free. How about that? And here's people that probably rented this boat out and they took a cruise. Probably it was busy because it's City of Water Day. There's the Staten Line ferry and the Statue of Liberty. And I was on a boat and the boat was moving. And I got to see a lot of different stuff of New York City I wouldn't have seen otherwise. And all these boats crossing in front of each other, water traffic and the Statue of Liberty from different views. And it was pretty cool. And I was using every focal length I had on this lens between 75 and 300, to get the proper composition I wanted. And of course, I was using the ISO 400. It was relatively sunny out. I was only varying my aperture to keep my shutter speed around faster than 500. What was it? I used from f8 to f16. That's what I used. So, and I saw all these boats. Maybe some of them I seen from the land, but I never seen them from the river. you know, and the boat was going by, and it was changing the perspective. Watchtower, Jehovah Witness, they sold this facility for $1 billion. And now they're putting a facility somewhere else. They bought some land, and they're clear cutting it and blasting to put up their world headquarters. Here's the Brooklyn Bridge. This is a perspective you generally don't see of the Brooklyn Bridge. You have to be on some sort of a ship or vessel in the water as it cruises by, and you can get these views. And the lens was really, really good. It wasn't crappy. It wasn't nasty. It wasn't like, ugh, well, that's just barely acceptable. These were more than acceptable. I'd say they were good. Not excellent, not very good, not outstanding, just good. You have to know how to use it, which is to stop it down, use it on a sunny day with a fast shutter speed and whatever ISO it takes to do that. You can see a lot of atmospheric jitter in these struts. And then we went to some backwater tributary in Brooklyn, and we saw where they kept the fireboats with their water cannons. Pretty cool. I thought it was really interesting. It was very educational. You know, we went all around, saw all these different sites. It's a perfect day for a boat ride where it was warm because it was July, but it wasn't oppressively hot. It was sunny, but there was enough clouds and haze to sort of take the bite out of the sun. And we got to see all this cool stuff, all these different boats and all these different views, and it was really great. And I'm glad I had this lens. It was still brand new. I just got it maybe 6 months before, and I was really glad I had it. The autofocus worked really good. It was the ultrasonic motor version, and made in Malaysia. And I liked it. It came out good. These are good pictures. I mean, all right, I was using a 10 megapixel DSLR, but that was like a big deal back in 2010. So, you know, I could have spent thousands of dollars back then, but I didn't because I was spending it all on my girlfriend. But I still got some good pictures. I thought these pictures came out good. Oh, what's a disclaimer? Oh, I had to adjust the contrast or the brightness or the levels or all or some combination thereof to bring out the detail because it was hazy that day, and this lens magnified the haze. So in order to make things look a little bit sharper, I just had to fool with them a little bit. Look, check out this helicopter. Look at that exhaust plume. Wow, that's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, and it's just, I liked it. It was really cool, and it's just, I'm glad I had this lens. Do I have better lenses now? Yeah. Well, you know, I went used, and I got into vintage lenses. And, of course, now I'm into mirrorless cameras also. And now I know. And all the mirrorless cameras I bought used or pre-owned, and I got them at a discount. And that's the way to go now. You know, when I was young and stupid, I was buying everything new. I said, oh, that's not for me, because I have a much bigger collection of lenses than if I had bought everything new. No doubt about it. And I'll tell you one thing I noticed with lenses, and these Japanese camera companies, their quality control is consistent. So if they make a lens that's only good, all of them are only good. I'm telling you right now. And the build quality was very satisfactory. The fact that it had a metal lens mounting flange was a plus. The ultrasonic motor snapped into focus real easy. It didn't hunt too much. It seemed to be spot on at these apertures, which is good. I use a fast shutter speed, as you could see, and all these pictures, no camera motion, no unintentional camera motion, so that's pretty cool. And it has a bad reputation, but if you could get an excellent copy, dirt cheap, buy one. And there's so many different versions. There's the original version made in Japan. I think all the rest are made in Malaysia. Some have ultrasonic motors, some have DC motors for autofocus. Some have IS and some don't. And the latest version had a UD lens element, which is supposed to improve the quality. This is the ferry went in front of the Statue of Liberty and see the exhaust plume sort of mess with the Statue of Liberty, like trying to blow its skirt up or something. So look at this, it's pretty decent. It was a low contrast hazy day, and I boosted these lenses, but there's only so much you could do if the air is hazy. But it could have been worse. It could have been completely foggy, and I couldn't have got anything. So I think I got a whole bunch of cool pictures that I'm sort of like them all. Some are better, of course. But even if some pictures are mediocre, it takes a decent mediocre picture, and you're still able to get a really good picture when you need to. That's just the way it is, you know. And what's the bottom dollar? You know, if you're harder for bucks and you want to get some sort of longish zoom, well, if you can pick up a copy of the 70-300 at a reasonable price, go for it.